Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Hello, football-loving friends. This is Purple Daily, where, as Judd's hooded sweatshirt says, we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die around here. And you can get that. Those are the hoodies that we were wearing on stage.
This is a nice
last
hoodie, by
Thursday.
the way. This is not cheap. This is nice. Good
It's
quality.
not cheap material, but it's pretty affordable in the Score North shop.
Good quality. I like a good quality. There is nothing worse than a hoodie that like sticks to you and it's like this sucks. This one, the opposite. It's very nice.
So you can find, if you want to be like Sports Dad and you just wear the same wardrobe, or get your JJ to JJ swag as well, you can go to scorenorth.com/shop. Scorenorth.com/shop. There's also a QR code here on the YouTube screen if you want to just take out your phone and grab a picture of that. Okay, today's episode, we will bring back Random Viking of the Week. It's been a chaotic couple weeks here, but we are back in the Random Viking of the Week business. We're going to talk about the 5 qualities of J.J. McCarthy that led the Vikings to drafting him as their future franchise quarterback. We're going to go through. We got an interesting soundbite that we're going to play for one of them from the Rich Eisen show. But before we get there, Judd, let's talk about our favorite gas station and convenience store in and around the state of Minnesota.
That would be the one and only Quick Trip, which, as Phil just said, in and around the state. Basically, if you are taking a trip, I don't care if it's a few miles from your house or it is across the border to Iowa or Wisconsin. Guess what you're going to see on the way? You're going to see plenty of Quick Trips, and it is a great place to pick up everyday items. We're talking milk, bread, produce. That's right, grocery store type items. So if you're stopping on your way home from work for gasoline and you're thinking to yourself, I got to stop at the grocery store too. Au contraire, Quick Trip is going to allow you that one-stop shopping opportunity. So you're going to get home quicker. Also, you got the quality gasoline guarantee. You got the fantastic Karuba coffee. I could go on and on, but why should I when you can find out for yourself? Quick, easy, and always offering a great value. That's the presenting sponsor of Purple Daily, and we thank them for that. Quick Trip.
So why are the Vikings putting the future of their franchise in the hands of J.J. McCarthy beyond the Patriots rejected their trade offer, right? Because we could have been having this conversation about Drake May, but
Sure.
There's also some interesting reporting out. Pelissero was on the Rich Eisen show a couple days ago and saying the Vikings actually loved a lot of these different quarterbacks. I saw another report that the Vikings would have been comfortable also just taking Bo Nix, that they actually liked pretty much all 6 quarterbacks that could have been available to them. Maybe not equally, but they would have been comfortable. They didn't have any of the 6 like off their board, is what it sounds like. Mm-hmm. But I think there are 5 main reasons or 5 main qualities that drew Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and the Vikings decision makers to J.J. McCarthy. Okay. And I want to go through, and this is partially my opinion. It's partially just like a lot of the reporting that's been out there the last few weeks. I know Judd, the former lead Vikings beat writer of the Star Tribune and 1500ESPN.com, Judd has been surveying the football landscape, so you can add some thoughts to this as well. But I think there's 5 qualities. 5 qualities.
All right.
That make J.J. McCarthy very appealing to the Vikings. Let's start with quality number 1. Leadership. Now, we've gone over probably 5 different times the quote from the anonymous scout during this draft process that said before he signed at Michigan, J.J. McCarthy was telling other Michigan recruits as an 18-year-old, if you want to party and chase girls, go somewhere else. This class, this team, is going to be the one that restores Michigan football. To have that mentality and actually go achieve it, J.J. McCarthy is different. But there's another anecdote that we haven't talked about from clickondetroit.com. It's like it's like Channel 4 in Detroit, local TV station.
But you click on.
Yeah, clickondetroit.com.
It's a broad landscape. Okay.
So I'm going to read you this. I thought this was interesting in terms of J.J. McCarthy's leadership. The low point during the Jim Harbaugh era was November of 2020. After the program's first loss to Indiana in 24 years, I think Michael Penix was the quarterback that game,
right.
wasn't he?
Pretty sure you're right.
Michigan hosted Wisconsin for a primetime Saturday night game the week after and got smoked 49-11. Michigan fell to 1-3 on the season, pandemic season, and many fans began to loudly wonder, maybe this should be the final year for Jim Harbaugh. Maybe it's not working.
Yep.
While that cloud of uncertainty and toxicity shrouded the program, it was a 17-year-old high schooler who stood up and spoke reason to millions of adults who were carrying pitchforks. 17-year-old J.J. McCarthy tweeted at the time, and he had committed to Michigan at this time. He's 17. Most people have to delete.
I'm almost concerned about what he tweeted.
No, it's the opposite.
Okay.
Most people have to go and delete their tweets from when they were 17. Like Declan, were you on Twitter when you were 17?
Got one when I was about 8. I was right before college, so I was 18. I was 18, but I've scrubbed some tweets.
Yeah,
I've scrubbed some tweets.
Not J.J. McCarthy,
Like
though.
Trubisky?
Not J.J. McCarthy. Yeah.
Like when Trubisky tweeted?
He had to scrub some tweets, didn't he?
He did, yes.
So everyone's up in arms. Fire Jim Harbaugh. Get his ass out of here. Michigan football is better than this. And so J.J. McCarthy, 17 years old, tweeted, I want all Michigan fans to do this. Take 3 deep breaths and have faith. Faith that every single coach, player, employee in that building is doing everything they possibly can to be great. This great university demands excellence. This great fan base demands excellence. Everything that surrounds this university is simply just pure drive for excellence. Know that every single person associated with the football program is striving for that excellence. There is always light at the end of the tunnel. McCarthy's leadership was about to become an important pillar of Michigan's next golden era. 17, dude.
Well, and it's impressive too, though, because he also knew that as far as the players went, that wasn't necessarily true, because that's why he was telling guys, if you want to go chase girls and drink, don't come to the school I'm going to. So, like, that's a very mature thing to, like, sort of blindly defend. And I'm sure he believed that about the coaching staff, right? And Harbaugh.
Yeah.
But I think I'm more impressed by the fact that he knew that some of the players might be louts. So privately, he's like, if this is what you want to do, because he probably did enough recon to know, like, the players weren't all in. And you know, for a quarterback to say that is awesome. Like, I love that, which is, if you don't want to be all in, I don't want to be your teammate. That's an easy thing to be like, well, no, duh. But I think it's a very nuanced thing and very impressive thing as far as what you're talking about, leadership, Phil, to pull off.
I shudder to even
Love
make
it.
this comparison because I despised this quarterback in the NFL. But there's a little Tim Tebow to the way that he gets people fired up and the way that he speaks with this maturity at such a young age. And now a couple differences. Tim Tebow as a college quarterback, Florida and Urban Meyer put everything on him. I mean, he was carrying the program. He was running the ball 15, 20 times a game. He was throwing the ball. Like,
Right.
J.J. McCarthy, college quarterback, was only throwing the ball maybe 15, sometimes 20 times a game. And the knock on him is like, well, we haven't seen enough. But then in terms of NFL projection, Tim Tebow had these crazy bad mechanical flaws. Like, he was slow on the trigger, slow to read defenses, and he just didn't have translatable NFL skills. McCarthy, people think, does have translatable NFL skills.
Yes.
But the way that both of those guys at a young age can kind of stand up in front of a room like they're 40 years old, but really they're 18 or 20 years old,
Yes.
there is a little bit of a Tebow similarity there, I feel like.
I sense on McCarthy, I sense a little bit more, to use a cliche word, I sense a little bit more grit, though. I think Tebow was a very,
Very clean cut.
His life is very optimistic. I love the fact that privately McCarthy was telling guys who were probably really talented athletes to buzz off.
Mm-hmm.
That, to me, that's a professional attitude, which is, you might be good, I don't care. Are you willing to put in the commitment I do? And I mean, this is a kid who has put in a commitment of a lot for sports for a long time. He basically said he quit hockey because 2 days a week he would get done with football practice and drive like an hour or more to hockey practice.
And that was before he could drive, by the way. So
Yeah,
his
so his
parents
folks-
would drive him. 'Cause
Right,
he
but
was
I mean-
in ninth grade.
But I mean, that's impressive. Like, that's a commitment to, and then he said, you know what? I can't do this, so I'm just going to focus on football.
Okay, so I have to ask this question then before we move on to quality 2. Do you think he's full of crap? Do you think, because at some point you can be this winner and this leader in high school and college and rah and say all the right things and
Right.
sound like a 40-year-old when you're really 21, but if you can't play and if you can't back it up with actual adults who are 28, 30 years old in a locker room and play on the field, are we going to be, I feel like we're either going to be talking about one of the great leaders in Vikings history who helps take them to the promised land, or we're going to be like, remember that rah-rah guy that came in, JJ McCarthy, and couldn't back it up? Like, it doesn't feel like we're setting up for a ton of gray area here.
I think that he is far more of I think he has the intangibles that we have seen some people try and force. Now that does not mean he has the mechanics. Like there are mechanical things. There are things about his football playing that in the National Football League are going to have to be fixed. So I'm not saying he is not set up for success necessarily day one, but I think as far as the wiring goes, I think it's good. And it was also important, the story that the Vikings had, and clearly he's the pick of the team now, so they're going to come back pretty positive. But they did talk about the fact that they said, what restaurant do you want to go to in Ann Arbor? And he took them to a famous deli there and, walked in and he knew people and could address them. I think he's very grown up. And I think he's going to have the intangibles that that teammates are going to gravitate towards him. That does not remove all questions. I don't think he is full of crap, but just to be clear, like Ponder wasn't full of crap. He just couldn't do it.
He wasn't a leader, though.
But he wasn't a leader, right? He wasn't mentally wired right. So, I think there's a difference between, I don't know if you can win a national championship, because I don't think Tebow was full of crap. I think his mechanics sucked.
That's true. Yep. Yeah,
So-
Tebow was a real leader.
Yeah, no,
But it's
right.
Like, when
no
you
one's questioned that.
you run out of the tunnel, oh my God, Tebow got us fired up, and then you see him like sidearm a duck 5 yards
he
in front of a crossing
Was
route.
throwing like a right fielder coming up with a ground ball to right, trying to throw a guy out at home. You got that delivery. But no, I do not think that what he says or the mental wiring when it comes to JJ McCarthy is full of crap.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's authentic. I think it's legit. I also believe you'll figure out pretty quick through teammates of, like, Boone's talked about, like, a lot of that intangible stuff with us before too, of like, is this guy for real? But I think you'll know pretty dang quick if he's full of crap. But I initially no, I don't think he's full of it.
We'll probably hear a story at some point that he bought like all of his offensive linemen something or dinner. Like that's the type of stuff that we'll probably see.
Oh, he'll get him something. Yeah. Snowmobiles, maybe?
Oh, pretty expensive though.
Snowblowers?
Snowblowers. Maybe that's.
I feel like it's going to have to do with snow because it always does here. Have you ever seen
he didn't go number 2 overall. He went number 10 overall.
Yeah.
So that signing bonus
Good
a
point.
little bit less.
Touche.
Okay, quality number 2, JJ McCarthy. He seems to value winning over statistics.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play you a 30-second clip here from the Rich Eisen show before the draft.
It was week 4 after we beat Maryland, and I was worried about the stats, and I was calling him and saying, like, hey, like, I wish we could, just, open up the playbook just a little bit more. But he told me, hey, I just want you to know that the most important stat of a quarterback is wins and losses. Tom Brady, yeah, obviously he's got great stats, but his most important stat is that 7 rings he's got on his fingers. So just being able to hear that at such a young age and understand, this is what football's all about. It's winning.
What do you make of that?
I think it's very interesting. I think it is. So, to go back to what I've said a few times before, I think if you win a national championship playing for Jim Harbaugh, that's impressive. I mean, the guy is incredibly demanding. I also think, at the end of the day, McCarthy ended up averaging 22 attempts, passes per game, which, yes, is not exactly what the scouts want. They'd like to see more. But I think the analytics community, of course, would say, well, that's crap. Wins and losses aren't a quarterback stat. They're a team stat. They shouldn't have anything to do. But I'll never take away the intangible of have you won? Like, if you've won a national championship, which this kid did, it can't be dismissed. I think the most important thing, though, is this. The Vikings clearly decided that they had seen enough from him as a human, and also from a body of work, including film, to believe that what they did see in those 22 attempts per game gave them reason to draft him at 10. Mm-hmm. And I am personally one, I probably go a little bit too far, but I am personally one that never dismisses have you won. I think that there is an incredibly, it goes back to what you have brought up a ton when Kirk was here, which is how much did Kirk win? And the reality was he really didn't win. I can't dismiss that. I think if you have experienced success, if you know what it looks like and just absorbed from being around it, I think it's an incredibly important intangible. Now, can we quantify it exactly with a statistic? No, but I believe what McCarthy said there via Harbaugh is a very important thing.
We have completely just alienated people who think QB wins is a good stat. Like, people just pile on everyone. Like, QB wins is not a stat. It's one or the other, right? Like, either you're an idiot for thinking it, or you either have to look at the Tom Brady's and Peyton Mannings of the world to just say, like, those are the only guys because they have a large sample size of winning. Winning is incredibly important, and it's the most important thing at that position. So, yes, there are examples of Tavares Jackson going, 8-2 as a starter, but he wasn't really that good. But I do believe QB wins is important in the right context. And J.J. McCarthy, dude, is a winner. And I do believe our discourse around QB wins is one of the most interesting things to me in the NFL, because there is an actual thing to QB wins. It's not just a completely overrated statistic.
Yeah, I think I'm glad we're going down this QB wins rabbit hole here. I did do some digging on this for this exact discussion, but I think there's a couple things you can say. Number one, quarterback has the most influence on winning, just like a pitcher in his game has the most influence on winning for that game in baseball. Just like the most high usage star NBA player has the most influence on winning in that basketball game. Does it mean that it's 100% their fault or their credit? No. So it is fair to say, especially in a small sample of 10 games of Tavares Jackson in 2008 or whatever the hell, right? Or Gus Frerotte. Right. So on one hand, I agree for the people that say quarterback wins isn't a stat. In the short term, yeah, you can't really use a small sample size to say so. But I want to ask those people this question. And I'm an analytics guy. I'm pro football focused till I die, baby. I got into this business as an analytics guy, writing about football and baseball analytics. And my question to the QB wins isn't a relevant statistic people is this. I'm going to give you a list of starting 40 years ago, 50 years ago. So go back to the 1970s. The highest winning percentage quarterbacks in football that have played at least, I think the line I drew here was 85 games. It's like the Patrick Mahomes line. I wanted to include Patrick Mahomes. And if anyone has a problem with that, have we not had enough sample size to say that Patrick Mahomes is good at winning football games? So I'm going to give you this list. You tell me, is this a list of the luckiest quarterbacks in NFL history, or is it a list of the best quarterbacks that have the most influence on winning over the course of 10 years, 15 years? Okay? Patrick Mahomes has the highest of any quarterback in the last 40, 45 years, has the highest winning percentage. Tom Brady is number 2. Lamar Jackson, Roger Staubach, Peyton Manning, Jim McMahon, outlier. There's going to be some outliers. Steve Young, Josh Allen, Danny White, one of the most underrated quarterbacks. He took over for Staubach in the 80s.
Punt, too. He punted as well.
Punted, too. It's crazy,
Danny
man.
White.
Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw, Aaron Rodgers, Ken Stabler, John Elway, Jim Kelly, Brett Favre, Joe Theismann, Russell Wilson, Dan Marino, Donovan McNabb, Randall Cunningham, Drew Brees, Phil Simms, Tony Romo. Had to keep the list going until we got to Tony. He's my guy, Tony Romo. Did I just give you a list of the luckiest quarterbacks of all time that happened to just win a bunch of games because the circumstances around them and the great offensive coordinators? Or did I just give you a list of the best 20 to 25 quarterbacks of all time? Like, and there's going to be some outliers here and there.
Yeah. Well, and the thing
QB
too-
wins matter. They do matter over a long sample size.
Well, and I think most importantly, championships do, right? Like you can have a good season and still not be a great quarterback, and you can be a great quarterback and not have a good season. But you just went through a litany of a lot of guys who have won Super Bowls. And to me, that becomes incredibly important. If nothing else, do you have the experience that takes you there? Like these are all things I think it's really weird. The analytics and stats, which I think can be incredibly telling. Like there are certain things where, we basically used to eye up offensive lines and be like, I think he's good. Not really sure why, but I think he pancaked a bunch of guys. Now you can go into chapter and verse of why he's good or why he's not good, right? Mm-hmm. But I also think that there is a weird line we've drawn where that makes us ignore the fact that these are human beings who play. So, like, if JJ McCarthy can walk into the locker room and guys are like, he's got something, that is such a huge step. And now you could come back and say, how can you tell? Okay, that's a good point.
It might not be as quantifiable as you want it to be, but it doesn't mean,
But I mean, Phil,
the absence of evidence does not mean that the evidence is absent.
Exactly. And on Flagrant Howls yesterday, we had a long conversation about Ant and some of the things that Ant brings. They're not quantifiable.
But if you look at some of his advanced metrics,
but it's weird because I don't have a problem with that as well. But they need to be combined. These are human beings, and quarterback. I mean, there is no more important position in sports, in my opinion, to have that touchstone piece than that position.
Yep. So again, we're gonna, as Declan said, we're just gonna keep waging war on each other, whether you believe in quarterback wins or not.
Why can't we come together?
It's the weirdest thing, though. Like, isn't it so strange how, like, people just absolutely dismiss anyone who brings up QB wins, even though the best quarterbacks of all time won? Like, it's such a weaponizing discussion to me, and I don't get it. I really don't.
And back in the day, long before free agency started, for instance, Staubach and Bradshaw had some great years, but you could build defenses and teams that were outstanding, and those guys never left.
Yeah.
But now you don't have that. So like it becomes even more important if you do have that quarterback, rookie contract, can he step in? Can he win? Can he get the team together? I mean, it's weird. We as a society, I feel like in sports conversations have lost all room for nuance.
Well, and to your point about defenses, for instance, because this is what happens. Well, Tom Brady's defenses and Terry Bradshaw's defenses. No one's arguing that you don't need great defenses to also win games.
Sure.
Like, of course, go talk to Jim McMahon, who's sixth on this list. Like, Jim McMahon had some of the greatest defenses you'll ever see with the Bears, with the Eagles, with the Vikings, even that defense had John Randall in 1993, et cetera. And so clearly there's other factors that play into this, but let's say I were to give you this same exact list of quarterbacks, but I didn't tell you what the ranking category was. If I just said, I'm going to give you a list of quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Roger Staubach, Peyton Manning, Steve Young, Josh Allen, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw, Aaron Rodgers, John Elway, Jim Kelly, etc. And I were to say, what list am I ranking right now?
Hall of Fame.
Or Hall of Fame. Or if I were to say, how would you describe those quarterbacks? Great, amazing, maybe even winners, right? Some of the greatest, you just listed the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Mm-hmm. Right, and that's true. And they also have the highest winning percentages of any quarterback in the NFL's history.
Right.
Because they're awesome and they contribute to winning games. And by the way, when you are a great quarterback, you help drive a great offense. When you have a great offense, you take leads, sometimes double-digit leads. And guess what happens? Your defense is better because you're up 10-0, 17-3, 28-10. And now you can pin your ears back and rush the passer instead of being in close games for 6 years. Not that I'm still bitter.
Well, and now consider this. Now, because of the contracts, you also can bring in more help around said quarterback or quarterbacks because you have more room to work with.
If it's a rookie scale or a long-term contract, yes.
Darnold's $10 million. Like in the quarterback world, that's nothing. So like the Vikings actually have a room now of quarterbacks who allow you to also supplement the team, improve the team, because the quarterbacks come at a relatively cheap price.
Yeah. So anyways, that was the second quality.
All right,
that is appealing about JJ McCarthy.
I love doing this.
Before we get to the last three qualities and a random Viking of the week, let's go out to a nice golf course here, Declan. Let's go out. Let's take the audience to the Meadows at Mystic.
Yeah, Meadows at Mystic Lake, one of the best courses. I saw some of our Purple Daily audience was playing there yesterday. They tried to get Dex Tweets to come out. It was a middle of the day tee time. I'm sorry, boys. They hit me up at the draft party, and they were like, we're going to the Meadows on Wednesday. You're coming with. Unfortunately, wasn't able to come with them, but they were able to have a blast out there. And also, we're giving an app giveaway, too, right now on the Score North app from our friends at the Meadows at Mystic Lake. So we are teaming up with them for one stay-and-play golf package for 4 each month, all season. Prizes include 2 rounds of golf with cart at the Meadows and 1 night stay at the Mystic Lake Casino for 4. For your chance to win, all you got to do is download the Score North app and listen to your favorite content. Enter through the Listener Rewards tab. Go download the Score North app for the exclusive giveaway from our friends at the Meadows at Mystic Lake.
Hey, let's talk about our friends at Bachman's here. Our new friends at Bachman's on Purple Daily. We'll talk about Mother's Day coming up next week. Okay, Bachman's a great place for that, but it's time to roll up your sleeves, elevate your outdoor space with help from Bachman's. Now, this week, you see some nice little Mother's Day bouquets there. We're just throwing that out there to get out a week ahead of time here, but let's focus on growing your own groceries, okay? Add fresh flavors to your spring and summer with a huge selection of vegetable and herb plants. If your main gardening goal is to have fresh homegrown tomatoes, basil, lettuce, we used to make BLT sandwiches all the time.
So did we. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Heck yeah.
Welcome to the club. Zucchini. The top 6 tips for new veggie gardeners. Start small. Look for a convenient location, drenched in full sun. Mix plenty of compost in with the soil to add the nitrogen most vegetable plants require. Start with plants or seeds. Feed your garden. Fertilize twice a month if you want to have a nice garden with good veggies. And weed early and often. You can find many more tips and helpful people at any of the Bachman's locations in Minneapolis, Apple Valley, Eden Prairie, Plymouth, Fridley, Maplewood, and Cedar Acres, Lakeville. Bachman's in the Twin Cities, here to help you with your gardening and vegetable and herb needs. So, quality number 3, J.J. McCarthy, that I think the Vikings were smitten with. His ability to throw accurately over the middle. So Kevin O'Connell has said many times during this process, when asked about what are the qualities, leadership, we talked about that stuff, right? Like there's certain intangibles, but in terms of actual throwing ability, accuracy and willingness to throw over the middle, anticipatory windows, right? You can't just be Russell Wilson throwing outside the numbers and the hash marks and scrambling around. Like KOC needs tight ends over the middle, Justin Jefferson, crossing routes, mesh concepts. That's right.
Oh, yeah, mesh concepts.
Mesh concepts. Okay?
Yes, no question.
So from Pro Football Focus, J.J. McCarthy's biggest strength is his ability to make throws over the middle of the field. While he didn't have as many dropbacks as some of the other counterparts in the 2024 draft, he still attacked the middle of the field at a high rate. A 91.2 PFF grade out of 100 on throws over the middle, and an 86% accuracy percentage on throws over the middle. Both were top 10 among FBS quarterbacks. His calling card is throwing over the middle of the field, according to Pro Football Focus. He was also 5th in just accuracy rate, period, among all college quarterbacks, and an average depth of target of 10-plus yards. So we aren't talking dink and dunk short throws here.
He's got a bit of a hose. He's got a bit of a hose for an arm. There are certain mechanics, footwork things that need to improve for sure, that he could get away with in the Big Ten that he won't get away with in the NFL. But that being said, yes, I think day one, his ability on anticipatory throws is going to be very, very good. And that's so he has certain things that can be fixed, but he also has certain things that are very hard to teach. And I think the anticipatory throw is hard to teach. We saw this with
Yeah.
Kirk at times. Now, Kirk could make that throw. Don't get me wrong.
Kirk, by the way, led the NFL in accuracy rate last year before the injury.
But you also have to, but it also involves a lot of trust. Now, if you are a quarterback who says, hey, you know what? You got to be where I said you need to be. That's sort of what develops that. But yeah, I think I think there's certain things outside the hashes where we're going to find he's got the arm, but he needs a little bit more touch. I think the anticipatory throw over the middle he already has that touch.
Yeah.
And I think that's huge because that to me is sort of an ingrained thing in your head. Can you make that throw? Because it does involve trust. And the good thing is at Michigan playing for Harbaugh. So I guess the bad thing is he averaged approximately 22 throws per game. In a perfect world, you'd like it to be more. Harbaugh liked to run, which, by the way, KOC, it's not a bad thing. Like it's not going to be a bad thing if the Vikings run a bit more. I'm not saying go Zimmer on it, but you could definitely run more. That being said, though, I think if you look at his film, there are a lot of big boy throws that I don't know guys like Bo Nix are asked to make in tricked up offenses for college purposes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Harbaugh he doesn't trick things up. He's just got his system, and it's pretty professional. So I think I think point 3 in your list here is incredibly important because, you know, Justin Jefferson is going to be where you tell him to be. That doesn't mean that you have to try and wait till Jefferson hits that mark to throw that pass.
Yep. Amen. Okay. Quality number 4 here, because now we're getting into some of the more physical football things that you see on the actual gridiron. Performance under pressure.
Mm-hmm. Huge.
So there's figurative pressure and then there's literal pressure.
This is one of the most important things.
So the figurative pressure would be like you play football at Michigan and it's only a success if you win the national championship, and now you're playing Alabama in a massive game right? And you have one of your best games of the year, 3 touchdowns, no picks, a bunch of big third down
Dallas
plays.
Turner is bearing down on my ass every play.
Yep. And they're going to make fun of you if you can't get the job done, right? Like, so there's like the figurative pressure of just playing in the big games. I mean, one of his biggest games was 2 years ago, end of the regular season against Ohio State, and he threw for like a bunch of yards and a couple touchdowns. So he's done well winning championships, high school, college, under figurative pressure. But then in the NFL, you face a lot of literal pressure. Like even the best offensive lines in the league are allowing pressure on 25 to 30% of dropback. So it's life in the NFL, man. We spent a lot of time complaining about the offensive line not being good enough. Guess what? In the NFL, you're going to get pressured. So you got to figure it out, right?
Absolutely. And if I may, the thing about it too is you're not talking about like the pressure that flushes you out. That pressure comes. We're talking about pressure's coming. Can you take a step to your left, plant your feet, ball out?
Yep, 100%. And so in some ways, the way that they operated at Michigan helped him for the NFL more than people give credit for, because sometimes they would, not sometimes, almost all the time, they would run the ball first down, run the ball second down, and maybe they would get a first down, and then now it's first down again. But by the time it got to third down, it's 3rd and 8. They know you're going to pass, and they're going to pin their ears back. So a lot of the throws he was making were on like 3rd and medium 3rd and long at Michigan the last couple of years.
And one thing I heard to that point is the scouting community believed that Harbaugh's faith in McCarthy was so high, he didn't mind that. So like if McCarthy if
it's 3rd and 10, we're still fine.
Right.
It's JJ, right?
Right, exactly. But so if it's a QB of a lesser ability, you are like, it's got to be 3rd and 3, right? So on second down, you pass.
Mm-hmm.
But because McCarthy, that Harbaugh had such faith, he literally thought 3rd and 8, we'll get the first down. So that's something that I think a lot of the media doesn't look at or consider, but the scouting community does.
Yeah, makes sense. And then just in terms of like where he ranked when pressured last year, these are from PFF. So among all college quarterbacks, he was 6th in PFF grade when pressured. He was 7th in yards per attempt when pressured. He was 3rd in big-time throw percentage when pressured.
Football.
like that tight window throw up the seam for a touchdown that you see the highlight of. Like, that's a big time throw right there. And then he was third in passer rating when pressured, behind only Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix last year. So it's like a lot of the times that they were asking him to throw, it was, hey, they know you're going to throw. Are you still going to be able to? Which in the NFL, by the way, I feel like about half your pass attempts or more, they know you're passing. It's 3rd and 9, or you're down by 10 in the second half.
Yep.
Can you still make a play when they know that you are throwing the ball?
Yep. And so his ability, I think the good thing is his ability to slide in the pocket at this point in his career is superior to what Kirk's was for a long time. Now, I think Kirk did improve there. I don't know that I would ever say he was excellent there. But his actual passes in such situations in the pros, his footwork needs work, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So he's got the footwork. He feels the pressure. He can duck. He can move. He can change his arm. But the actual footwork of how he does it needs work. So like,
how fixable do the Vikings clearly think that's fixable.
Yeah.
Is it like fixable in an off season? Is it fixable before week 1? Is it fixable in 12 months? Like, do we have any idea?
No, because I think it's going to take some time to fix it, because the other problem is if you fix it and turn him loose, he's going to revert back.
Yeah.
But
So
it's
he
good.
He should sit for a year.
Well, he can, but the good news is he's got the chip to feel the pressure. Like if he doesn't slide, like if the problem is he can't feel pressure, I don't think that's fixable.
Yeah, I agree.
I think you can't slide then. But if you can slide, and we're literally talking about your footwork there, so when you dip and you change the arm, then, okay, I can fix that footwork. But to your point, it's going to take some time. But all of the, like this is how nuanced this stuff can get. Like, I'm literally talking about the same thing, but one part of it he does well, and one part of it he still has to learn.
Yeah. And that brings us to J.J. McCarthy, quality number 5, that hooked the Vikings in. He's sneaky athletic.
Yes, I love this.
He's not Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson.
But he's also not, say it, he's also not
Tom Brady. Peyton Manning. I know who you want me to say. But
yeah, come on, say it. He's not that guy. He is sneaky athletic.
So one AFC college scouting director via The Athletic called him, quote, a super athlete, a really efficient thrower, but a super athlete. I don't know that I'd call him a super athlete in that sense. I think of, like, Josh Allen to me is a super athlete. He's jumping over linebackers and stuff. Maybe JJ has more of that than we think. But what's interesting is Thor Nystrom sent me this number via text. I think he put this out a couple months ago on Purple Daily. But J.J. McCarthy had a 71% completion rate when scrambling. So just getting outside the edge, you're on the move, Dallas Turner is about to murder you. Can you still complete a pass as you're falling to your death, right?
No, right.
He also, again, no one's going to confuse him for Michael Vick circa 2001 here, but he did run the ball 161 times in college for 632 yards and 10 touchdowns. So he's a better athlete than you would think looking at his numbers or just like watching him hand the ball off for 3 hours every Saturday.
Yeah, he can run a little bit, but I think the other important thing is to go back to the fact that this man has a hose. He can run and throw on the run, and the pass is still strong because his arm strength is good.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, he's definitely going to be a guy who as his career progresses, I think he'll probably run less. But when he does start, if there is confusion at times, he can take off and get first downs. Mm-hmm. Now, you don't want that consistently. You don't want him taking hits, but the option is there that if it's crunch time and there is a crucial first down and the coverage is good, that option is going to exist, and it's not going to be, oh, look at that. That's cute. He ran. It's actually going to be at times a threat.
Yeah. So
Good
there
stuff.
it is, boys. Those are the five qualities that drew the Vikings to J.J. McCarthy. His leadership, the fact that he values winning over stats, his accuracy and willingness to throw over the middle, his performance against literal and figurative pressure, and he's a better athlete than maybe you would think at first glance. So I'm excited to watch him practice. just
I
at
think
the
Jefferson's-
OTAs and the mini camps.
I think the eventual chemistry with Jefferson could be off the charts.
Well, I thought Jefferson had already decided that he never wants to play for the Vikings
Did
again
you guys
after
hear?
they made their previous quarterback.
I
decision.
have heard that Jefferson's agent is in conversations with the Toronto Argos, and he has just decided that the big fields in the CFL is too much for him to turn down.
He just wants to roam those
And he
pastures.
can go play with our guy, right? McLeod Bethel Thompson.
Oh, is he the quarterback
I
of
think
the
he's
Argonauts?
the quarterback of the Argos. Check with Ross. Because Ross
Ross
Brendel
will know.
knows every
does.
roster in that godforsaken league.
Oh, sure.
But I've heard JJ is like, I'm going to Toronto. See you guys later.
Oh my gosh. Well, before we get to Random Viking of the Week here, let's talk about Aquacide, our friends who are helping keep your lakeside areas pure and clean this time of year, Dex.
That's right. As you get your dock in, as you eventually the temperature warms up and you're jumping off that dock, and all of a sudden something grew over the winter, or you don't know what the heck's in there, or maybe you've been putting that off forever for the last few summers. Well, our friends at Aquacide can help you diagnose what's going on in that lake, and they can help you get rid of it too with those Aquacide pellets, which are safe products registered with the EPA and DNR. Get these products now. If you got a cabin, if you got a lake, and you want to clean that up, go check out our friends at Aquacide. Shipping is free too. Go to aquacide.com to learn more.
And a shout out to our friends at Nicolay Law, our guy Russell Nicolay. I saw he put up his the sort of Twins themed, the baseball themed billboards around town too.
All over Target Field.
But this is him here for the YouTube audience, just when he's not busy helping you guys get the compensation you deserve after an accident. He's just roaming the field inside US Bank Stadium, just looking for those people that are trying to prevent you from moving on with your life and getting the compensation you deserve after an unexpected injury. This is the official exclusive personal injury law firm of Purple Daily, and you can find out more information at nicolaylaw.com or give them a call at 1-855-NICOLAY. Get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicolay. Okay, it is time for the Random Viking of the Week here, gentlemen. A battle of historical wits between two members of the show. It's losers out format, and the last time we did this a few weeks ago, Judd correctly guessed Troy Williamson.
Oh, God.
Oh, don't worry, I'm still mad about Dan Gladden from last week's Twins one.
By the way,
Idiot.
we've been asked by the audience across these Thursday podcasts to not spoil what happens on the other random
Right, on the
athletes.
previous show that day.
Yeah. Yep.
We're super
Yep.
guilty of that. So,
Yeah,
Nope, I am.
Our bad.
Yep. Sorry, guys. So Judd has a 4-game winning streak. Troy Williamson, Charles Johnson, Brian Robinson, Alexander Madison. Declan's got the clues. He'll throw out clues. We get to guess, shout out guesses whenever we want. If one of us hits a third strike, the other person wins automatically. No Googling. All time, Judd has 70 wins. Declan 34. I have 19. In the new era where we all compete against each other equally, Judd has 19 wins. I have 12. Declan has 8.
All right.
Here we go.
I am going to get the Random Vikings that you guys sent me last night up right now. So I am scrolling through.
So you're Googling and cheating right now?
I am going through my Gmail right now.
I can see Google in the reflection of
I
your
want
glasses.
to be no, it's not. It's not.
Did you have to email Phil for the list again?
Yep.
last night, Chad?
I got it right here. You busting balls?
I'm not busting balls.
You
It's just it's
busting
hilarious
balls?
how you always seem to
You busting balls?
forget
I should go
about
Pesci
the
on
Random
you.
Vikings.
Hey, Spider. Hey, Spider.
I have a whole
Dance for
page
me.
that has just been taken over with all. It's literally it's spilled over from my document into page 2 of all
Quickly.
of our guys from T-Jack to Troy Williamson.
Breaking news before we start. I just got an email from the NFL PR department this morning. Schedule release coming soon. So it's
They didn't put it. They didn't put
They,
it.
they
Oh,
didn't.
you
It's
sons
going
of-
to
Like
be
a
a
week
week
from
from
tonight.
Thursday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guarantee it.
Can you imagine?
Week
Week 1.
This is such an irrational excitement.
Week 1 on Fox. It's the Vikings and the Falcons. Kirk Cousins versus his former team.
No, it's going to be. That's an NBC game. Play the damn chimes. It's an NBC game.
Tonight,
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
it's time for some Cousins.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
All right, this Random Viking of the Week played for Super Bowl winning coaches. It's your first clue right there.
Okay.
Like head coaches?
Yeah. Yep.
I got what you're doing.
This random Viking of the week had 8 rushing touchdowns in his Vikings career, 2 of which came in the playoffs. So 6 of the 8 in the regular season, 2 of the 8 in the postseason.
I'm gonna Control F here. Control F the.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
I tried that and I was.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. We already did this person early, like 3rd month ever of Random Viking. I just saw their name.
Okay. He also once led the league in fumbles. This random Viking of the week had 4 numbers in his career. During his rookie season and with his first team, or I should say with his first team, let me rephrase this. With his first team, he had 2 different numbers. He gave up the first number for a $12,000 donation to his football camp.
Okay.
Why 12,000?
I don't know. I don't know why. Wikipedia.
8 rushing touchdowns, 2 in playoffs. I'm sorry. Did you say that was with the Vikings or just in
All
the
with
course
yep.
of his
Those were
Okay,
with just the Vikings. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. I got a Control F.
Super Bowl winning coaches. Super Bowl winning coaches. Is
Entering
it,
year. Oh, okay. Yep.
I think
What
I
do you
have
got?
a guess. Is it Randall Cunningham?
Randall Cunningham.
I don't think he had 8 rushing touchdowns with the Vikings. Okay.
I don't know if he shares the award with Randall Cunningham, but this random Viking did win Most Improved Player one year.
Sure, Maya barking out there was yelled at.
Entering year 3 with his first team, he stated he was open to a trade. He said, I'm willing to be traded.
Entering
Year 3
with his first team.
with his first team,
Okay.
he was open to a trade.
Okay, I'm gonna Control F. I think we've done this person. Yeah, we have.
Yeah, we did this person too.
This random Viking of the week played in 3 playoff games with the Vikings. Appeared in 5 career playoff games.
One more Control F. Did him too. At some point, I almost feel like we should like put all the names back in and start over on random because we've been doing it for like 3 years.
Yeah,
There's a lot of new people.
see that?
I don't have time for this.
So my cop out for when I don't get this.
I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, you don't have time for the small talk.
I don't have time for the small talk about our system right now.
This random Viking once appeared in a documentary.
Documentary. Okay, could be that. Could be him.
No, that wouldn't be right. Wait.
This random Viking of the week has won multiple Player of the Week awards.
Okay. 8 rushing touchdowns. That's not that many.
He played for 2 Super Bowl winning coaches. I have a guess, but I don't think this guy played for.
There's no way this guy didn't have more. Oh, we haven't used him though. Wait. He played.
Got a guess?
He played in 3 playoff games.
With the Vikings. 5 total.
Super Bowl winning coaches. No, this guy didn't play. I don't think he could have played for multiple Super Bowl winning coaches though.
Did that guy? Oh no, we did him.
He got 3 playoff games. So 1, 2. When you said he played in 5 career playoff games, can I ask, did he start 5 career playoff games?
I believe 4 starts, 5 appearances.
We did him. 4 starts, 5 appearances. All right, I mean, Judd's not guessing though, so this is how Judd wins sometimes. Just lets me guess
Yes, it
out.
is. I backed into a few. Of course, I didn't back into Dan Glad, and I damn near hope to. Piss me off still. I'm trying for the small talk.
Okay, let's. I have a guess, but I just don't think it's right because the Super Bowl coaches thing is throwing me off, and I don't think this guy played for 2 Super Bowl coaches. So it's just lighting a guess on fire.
I'll say this. One of his head coaches won a Super Bowl as a head coach. The other coach won a Super Bowl, but not as a head coach.
Okay, well that's okay. I thought you meant like.
Oh, so we didn't. Okay.
Okay, so one of his head coaches won a Super Bowl as a head coach.
Yep.
The other one won a Super Bowl as a coordinator.
Mm-hmm. He was around some Super Bowl winning head coaches. Coaches that had won Super Bowls. Maybe is a better way to phrase that.
Yeah.
I think we did this guy. Hold on.
So one of his head coaches won a Super Bowl, but like clearly somewhere else.
No, he said we did him.
Did he? Has he won a Super Bowl? It sounds
No.
like no. It sounds like the answer is no, right?
No, he did not. Never reached the Super Bowl.
Okay. I'm going to take a guess.
Okay.
I don't even know what era we're in. Like I'm just completely thrown on this one.
Well, there's one clue. I think it's wrong because I don't think it's enough rushing touchdowns. But there's one clue. No. But he didn't. Did he change numbers? No, he might not have changed numbers.
I legitimately like. We could be talking about a '70s Viking or one from like last year, and I would have no idea.
Did he change numbers as a Viking?
No. Same number with the Vikings.
Is it Dante Culpepper?
Dante Culpepper.
Yeah, 8 rushing touchdowns isn't enough.
He had
but the
He
fumbles.
had 8 in 1 year, I feel like.
Yeah, but
He
the
had probably,
fumbles. But the led the league in fumbles.
Okay. Wait a second.
Hold on. Yeah, no, that's not going to be right.
Is it Kirk Cousins? Yes!
Oh my God!
Yes! Wow. That took way longer than it probably should have.
I didn't want to put you on the set too much.
Oh my
Mike
God.
Shanahan. Mike
Shanahan.
Shanahan. Dude.
God.
Oh, that's
KOC
right.
1.
Let's
Sean
go.
McVay.
I don't feel bad about that one.
So I was trying to, I was giving you
go,
all
dude.
the external Kirk Cousins clues. An event, I was running out of them. So then I was like, all right, now it's going to be on because I'm going to have to start getting much more obvious
All
ones.
right, so I got the clues next week.
Oh, man. Yo, put Judd in here. Boy, wow. Congratulations to Kirk's biggest fan right here. Never a doubt. Amazing. All right, we got to go here. That's your Random Viking of the Week. Purple Daily Vikings Entertainment.